I'm going to show you how not to derail your weight loss journey with healthy foods. Okay, so excited to show you some of the foods that are touted as being healthy, and we think they are. And let me be clear, this is, doctors can say, oh yes, this is a really healthy alternative, for your, or helpful for you to lose weight, excuse me. But I am so passionate about this because this is what I do. I'm a weight management expert, as well as being a nutritionist and a mindset coach. And so I help hundreds of women to release unwanted pounds permanently. And because I've been doing this for so long, it pains me to see women go, and I talk to a lot of women and I go, they're like, I just can't, I'm not losing the weight. And I'm like, okay, so tell me what you're eating. And I'm like, okay, right, let's get started on that. Now, let me be clear, what we eat and our nutrition is only part of the picture when it comes to releasing unwanted pounds permanently. I'm always really clear about that in my videos, but these are foods that you really want to look out for. So what I'm going to show you today are 7 foods that are touted as being healthy, that some of them might have some health benefits, but they can totally derail your weight loss journey. So I'm going to show you these. So stick around to the end to see all 7 of them, because they're really, really important. And not only am I going to say, hey, watch out for these, but I'm going to give you really great alternatives. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start with first thing in the morning when we reach maybe for an oatmeal or a granola or something like that. So I picked both these items up from my local health food store. So one of them is instant oatmeal, okay? And this is the variety pack. Now, 2 things with oatmeal. Number 1, instant oatmeal will raise your blood sugar a little bit more quickly than steel cut oatmeal, right? But I'll get to that in a minute. But one of the things that can really derail your weight loss journey is to pick up these little packets. A, because it's instant, and B, because it obviously has quite a lot of sugar in it. So I think this is like 9 grams or something per serving, but this has a lot of sugar. And then a lot of granolas that you'll pick up, not all of them, but a lot, particularly the sort of gourmet granolas, have a ton of sugar and a lot of added sugar in the form of dried fruits. This particular granola that I picked up has 31 grams of sugar per serving, all right? So, ready for the swap out? The better swap out is steel cut oats. So oatmeal is really, really good for you. It's great for lowering cholesterol. It's great for your weight loss journey, but you're better off having intact grains. So a steel cut oat is more, it's not, the best case scenario would be an oat groat. And I couldn't actually find any in my store. I normally have them, but I'm out. But an oat groat is the intact grain. And in fact, I'll put a link to where you can buy really good oat groats. And you would have to soak them overnight. But most of us, if we don't want to, be bothered with that, then steel cut oats is absolutely the way to go. Obviously, no sugar. It's an intact grain, helps lower your cholesterol, and your body has to work a little bit to break that down. Okay, so that's the first one. So number 2. Food that could very easily derail your weight loss journey. And that is some of the plant-based milks, and particularly a big culprit is oat milk. So oat milk, a lot of brands of oat milk contain oil. And they contain oil as their second ingredient, which means there's a ton of oil in it. And it's not just oat milk. I've seen it in almond milks. I've seen it in flax, hemp milks, all these healthy milks, right, that we think we're doing a lot of good for our body. And yes, it's better than dairy milk for sure, for reducing inflammation and everything else. But you don't want to drink oil. right? That is a really great way to derail your weight loss journey. And particularly when you're making, we tend to drink a lot of these milks. We put them on cereal, we put them in oatmeal, we make a giant latte with them. So be really, really careful. Read your labels and notice on a lot of these oat milks that the second ingredient is going to be some kind of oil. So let's look at a better swap out. So better swap out would be a plant-based milk that only has 2 ingredients in it. So in the case of West soy milk, and soy milk is one of my favorite plant-based milks because it's so high in protein, which will help with your weight loss journey. 9 grams of protein per cup and 2 ingredients, soybeans and water. And of course, as you can see in some of my other videos, soybeans can be incredibly, they're very, very healthy, can be protective, contrary to sort of misinformation for, cancer and breast cancer, etc. So soy milk is a really good alternative. But if you prefer an oat milk or you prefer an almond milk or whatever kind of milk it is, oatmeal, almond, and soy would be the ones that I would stick to. Then make sure that it's only got a couple of ingredients and it's unsweetened and it has no oil in it. You can also very easily make your own oat milk as well. So that's an alternative there. Okay, number 3, rice. Okay, so I don't really have anything against rice. I really like rice. Rice is a huge subject. I think this is a white rice I've got here. The white rice and brown rice can have different, I'll do a whole nother video just on rice soon because there can be benefits to either. Brown rice can have a higher arsenic content in it as well. But here's the thing, eating a lot of rice could derail your weight loss journey, whether it's brown rice or white rice. So I prefer grains like quinoa, but here's the alternative that I want to give you for rice. Wild rice. So why I love wild rice is one of my favorite, it's actually not technically a grain, it's technically a grass, but it tastes like, it cooks like rice, and you would use it in place of rice. Like I love to make a creamy mushroom soup and put loads of wild rice, or any kind of soup and put wild rice in it, because it makes it very hearty, but it's also very high in protein as well. So it has almost double the amount of protein that regular rice does. So there's a really good alternative. And I know that in the health community it's like rice bowls, grain bowls, butter bowls, but you can end up eating a lot of rice, even if it's brown rice, and you just want to be a little bit careful. Go for a grain that has more protein in it, either quinoa or wild rice. Okay, next up we have salmon. You would not believe the amount of women that come to me and they go, oh, I'm so healthy. This is women who want to lose weight. I'm so healthy. And I go, what do you eat? And they go, well, I eat salmon and chicken. Okay. Now, there's a problem with both because both of them are actually extremely high, particularly farm salmon and modern day chicken, in saturated fat. It is not a health food and it is not a weight loss food, contrary to what you might think. But I wanted to show you salmon because a lot of people think, well, salmon is really, really healthy. So 90% of the salmon that's consumed in America, and actually pretty much all over the world now, is farm raised. And farm raised salmon is much, much higher in fat and pollutants and antibiotics and dye and the whole thing. It's not so pleasant. And there's a lot of mislabeling. It's a huge industry where I think I was reading something recently where they took DNA samples from fish that was sold both in restaurants and in stores as wild caught salmon, was sold, labeled as it is wild caught Atlantic salmon, whatever, and it wasn't. The DNA was, it is full on farm raised. Okay, so that's just one thing I want you to be careful about. But in terms of your weight loss journey, not a great idea, salmon at all. Now, you might be going, well, that's all very well, Sophie, but what about the omegas? It's so full of omega-3s. I hear you. I've got you. Let's look at the alternative. So the alternative is really simple. Would be an algae, a golden algae, or sometimes known as a pure algae supplement. Algae is what the fish eat in order to get the omegas. So cut out the middleman. You don't need the middleman, and boom, you get your omegas. You can get your omegas from lots of other plant-based sources as well, such as flaxseed and chia and all the beautiful seeds. However, if you really want to make sure that you're getting a wallop of those omegas, then you could just go with a supplement, an algae supplement, and I'll put a link underneath this video. I mean, you can check out, there are so many different kinds on the market now, but I know some of you are going to ask, so I'll put a link for one of them or two of them underneath the video. Okay, next up we have oil. And in this case, we have avocado oil. Now, I could have put olive oil, but I'm picking avocado oil because in the wellness community, there's so I just love what I hear. And it's like avocado oil, and I, saute in avocado oil, although suddenly by having avocado oil, it's just like the best thing and the healthiest thing or whatever else. Well, cooking with oils isn't healthy, period. It isn't. You're cooking them at high temperature, it's releasing free radicals, blah, blah, blah. Drizzling a little bit on top of your food, yeah, fine. It's, if it's a cold press extra virgin olive oil or a really high quality avocado oil, fine. But if you are on a weight loss journey, you don't want to have oil. Oil on your lips goes straight on your hips or whatever the thing is that they say. But you just don't need it. It's just absolutely not necessary. So instead of avocado oil, eat the whole food. Eat an avocado. It's as simple as that. I'm all about a whole food plant-based diet. And a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute, whole foods. And they think that oils and everything, an oil is a refined food. The same thing would be actually with olive oil. Instead of olive oil, have olives. Then you're eating a whole, non-refined food. All right, nuts. Now, nuts I have nothing against every kind of, tree nuts, peanuts, whatever. They are really healthy, and they contain antioxidants, and different nuts have for different, like walnuts are great for your brain. They are so full of omegas. Pecans are full of antioxidants. Every different nut has a different health benefit. So super healthy, but only if really they're raw. You want them ideally to be raw and unsalted. That would be the caveat there. However, you want to be really careful. They could be derailing your weight loss journey. So this is just a little thing of almonds, but really a handful of almonds in the palm of my hand, not even going over the first, knuckle where my fingers start. There we go. Is really, that's all you want to eat in a day, about an ounce a day. If you have more than that, then you could be derailing your weight loss journey, and particularly with nut butters, that's where it can really sneak in. However, let me give you a better alternative for your weight loss journey. Seeds. Replace your nuts, or most of them, with seeds, because seeds are much lower in fat. Okay, they contain super healthy fats. And you're going to get your omegas, your omega-3 fatty acids, your omega-6 fatty acids. They're so delicious. Your pumpkin seeds, your sunflower seeds, your hemp seeds, whatever seeds, sesame seeds. So whole seeds are so healthy and can be a great alternative that will not derail your weight loss journey. And last but not least, we have agave, right? So agave, oh my gosh, it's been the agave thing for years. I've been talking about it, but it still amazes me how many restaurants and health things and recipes are like, oh my gosh, agave is so healthy. Well, it will raise your blood sugar in just the same way as any other sugar, be it coconut sugar, all the sort of healthier sugars, the coconut sugars, the coconut nectars, but particularly agave, because it's just drizzled on so many things. There's a restaurant in LA, a health restaurant, where I found out, much to my shocker, I used to go there and they had these smoothies, the shakes that were so delicious, and people would go to them just to go, oh my God, you've got to have the whatever, cacao, mint, whatever it was. It had like quarter of a cup or half a cup of agave in it. And one day it was like, people thought it was delicious. So honestly, truly, things like agave and many other sugars can really derail your journey. So what to use instead? Dates. Dates is the only sweetener that I recommend. Date syrup is fantastic for just adding a little dot here, a dot there, a little bit to a dressing or a recipe that requires some kind of sweetener, and or the whole date obviously is the best case scenario, because it's full of fiber and minerals and vitamins, and it's truly a whole and really healthy food. So that's it. There you get it on my kitchen table. All of these better foods for you. So, you know, go and think about this. Go look in the store, and I'm curious. Let me know some of the versions and alternatives, because I've given you some of my alternatives. So let me know some of your favorite alternatives. I love it. As a community, you have such great ideas, and some of you are so healthy and, you know, so into all this. So please share some of your ideas. Share in the comments below. You know, you are such a great community, and you know, let me know if you have any questions also. And the other thing is, if you are really struggling and you're like, yeah, Sophie, I get it. I've tried these foods and swap outs and everything else, and I'm still struggling, and it's my mind, and I can't stick to anything I start or whatever, then absolutely click on the link below this video, because you can either book a breakthrough session with me if you've really had enough and you're ready to make some significant lifestyle changes, or you might want to watch my free masterclass where I go over the 5 different shifts that many of my, in fact, all of my clients have made to have, you know, long-term weight loss success. I will see you next time.